Hey, what's up? In this video, I'm going to show you 7 ways to play the G chord on your guitar. It's going to be the same thing whether you're playing an electric guitar or an acoustic. We're going to go over a proper technique as well as the correct fingers to use so that you don't have slow chord changes, fingers don't stretch, all that jazz. We're going to fix all of that in this video. And we're just going to jump into it and let's get started. So here we go. All right, so the first way I want you to play the G chord, we're going to go like this. And what's happening is we're going to put your pinky on the 1st string 3rd fret and then your middle finger on the 6th string 3rd fret, and that's it. Okay? So, as you can see from the diagram, that the fifth string is actually getting muted, which is what we want, so that's good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build you up to playing these chords nice and smooth. And you can see from the diagrams that the notes, I include the notes, so it's playing the G, B, and D notes. And they can repeat, they can be in any order, doesn't matter. But that's what's happening, okay? So what I want you to do is practice getting that to be one motion. One of the biggest problems people run into is they go boom, 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 and they make multiple finger motions to play their chords. And if you do that, they'll always be slow. You'll always have to have 3 thoughts, 3 motions. We need one motion, okay? So that's one of the hacks to do that, and it works 100% of the time, okay? One motion. Sweet. Now, 2 other ways to play this chord. All we're gonna do is we're gonna throw this guy, your index finger on the 5th string 2nd fret. And that's it, okay? So now we are playing the 5th string and we're adding in that B note. Easy, right? Now, you may be struggling with that ring finger where it's, not really knowing what to do. You can go ahead and throw it down on the 2nd string 3rd fret like this. Personally, I like the sound of this one the most, and you can see from the diagrams that all we did is replace that B note with a D note, and that's okay because we're playing the B note here. So in the G major chord, we need notes G, B, and D. It doesn't matter how many times they're played, but we need at least one of each, okay? Now, if your chord changes are kind of slow, you may consider checking out my free PDF download and video training on how to speed up your chord changes in less than 30 days. I'll walk you through the process step by step, and we'll fix this problem once and for all. So I'll have a link in the description below, so you can check that out, and let's fix this problem if that is you. Now, I do want to bring this up. So there's a couple ways I see people learning the G chord, and I would not recommend these fingerings. So what's happening is they use the ring finger here instead of the pinky, and they go like that. Yes, I get it, it sounds the same, but there's actually 0 benefit of doing it like this, okay? So going back to that example I showed a second ago with this one, there are a ton of songs, styles, where we have to do it like this. And I'll give you one little example, a song called More Than a Feeling. So what's happening here, you're playing this arpeggio, and we gotta play these 2 notes. Well, if you're here, how are you going to play that other note? Oh, now you have to learn a different G chord, okay? So again, there's no benefit of ever doing a G like this. Just do it like that. And then if you come across a situation where you need to play it like this, it's so simple, okay? Now, the other way is people do a G chord like this, where they're going to use their pinky, yes, and then their ring finger on the 6th string 3, and then their 2nd finger on the 5th string 2. Their argument to do it this way is it makes going to the C chord very simple, which you are correct. However, we don't go G to C or C to G always, right? It's a very short-sighted way of learning guitar. And besides that, there's no other benefit. And like I just said a second ago, if you want to play like arpeggios, you're needing to do some strum patterns, C add 9, all these other chords that are very, very popular, this way you can't do it. Okay, so I'd highly recommend you doing it my way, because my way's better, because then you can do whatever you want. Just make sure we have the proper technique, and I forgot to mention this when we very first started. This guitar neck is going up. Okay, if it's going straight or down, for heaven's sakes, your hands won't work properly, and then people, of course, think they don't have natural talent, and their fingers don't stretch and whatever else. No, this is not the case. The guitar neck needs to be going up. Even if it's not going as far as I'm doing, if I slide like this and play like so, it's still slightly going up. If you don't, again, you're going to kink up your wrist. The little tendons in here, they're like little hoses. You start kinking those up, it'll start to irk. It'll hurt, it'll ache. Yeah, this is not good. Now, the other thing is, with our G chord, go and put your hand out like this. You know the drill. If you've seen any of my other chord videos, it's like this.
Oh, Vincenzo, insalata caprese.
So what's happening is, even if we're doing the G chord, we're going to be on the side, and it's still happening. So if your thumb's over here, I mean, you can see how awkward this looks, right? Doesn't it looks awkward? So, boom. It should just be simple, dude. If you try to learn guitar and have your fingers do things that they're not supposed to do, it looks awkward, feels awkward, is awkward. It's not going to work. Cool. So there we have that out of the way. If you find I'm going just a little too fast, I have an article that I wrote up on my website about this chord that'll have the chord diagrams, but then also I have a bit more information as far as what chord progressions sound cool with this chord, what keys use the chord, a few songs that are easy enough that you can practice with this, as well as what are the notes inside the chords that we can really understand what's going on with this chord, and we can level up your guitar playing and your musicianship at the same time. So you may want to check that out. And by the way, if you have any questions on anything that I just said right there, feel free to post up in the comment section below. I'm well aware that some people are going to be very adamant about doing it this way, but this is just what I find, or the other way. This is what I find with work with people. They are stuck in a rut when I meet with them personally, and this is just one of the small little things that's holding them back, and I would much rather we learn it the right way so there is no starting over. Okay, all right, cool, moving on. So now the next voicing we're going to go over is going to build us up to playing bar chords. So one of the biggest problems that happens when people try to play bar chords is they play their open chords, then they try to play bar chord, and there was nothing in between. Open chords don't prepare you for bar chords. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna do a this little shape here. We're gonna go first finger index on 6th string 3, ring finger on 5th string 5, pinky on 4th string 5, and middle finger, boom, on 3rd string 4. That's it, no bar. And you're gonna strum just like that, okay? Don't worry, don't strum strings 1 and 2, we're not doing that. In fact, if you are pressing here on the fingertip with your index, it'll naturally mute those strings, which is nice. Cool. My thumb is like this. It's right in the back of, so it's kind of right in between these two fingers, okay? So what's happening is when you do a big stretch, it'll split the difference. Where this is not a big stretch, it's kind of like right here, if you can see that, right in between 1st and 2nd fingers. It's never on the outside of your index. So if you're ever doing that, if your thumb is ever on the outside of your index, you're playing guitar wrong, you're struggling, your fingers don't stretch, you say you don't have natural talent or whatever BS. Now, to turn this into a bar chord, it's crazy simple. All you're gonna do, once you get this down, one motion, okay? That's how you can practice this stuff, where you're gonna go, just get right close, don't touch on anything, don't press, and then everybody goes at the same time. Because if you go, you know, put one finger on, then this one, this one, this one, it's always going to be slow. And your coordination won't develop properly. I can't even speak properly, okay? Cool. So once you get that down, then you're going to just lower this down, and it's going to press to the side. Very simple, okay? Cool. Of course, I'm going quickly on this. You can use this as a reference coming back to this video, because you just don't do this a couple times and now you're ready for a bar chord, okay? Take some time. All right, now, the last versions I'm gonna give you is gonna be up here. So we're gonna play on the 5th string. We're gonna go 5th string 10, and then your ring finger is gonna bar across strings 2, 3, and 4 on the 12th fret. Okay, that's it. Playing a bar chord up here closer to your body is going to be way easier than over here, where the frets are wider, You have no leverage because you're like all the way over here. Okay. Sweet. That's it. Same drill. Get one motion on this, and you can see, at least I hope you can. So this knuckle is kind of going up, so my finger scoops, and I'm keeping my wrist straight. We don't want to be really bending the wrist. It hurts, you'll ache. Not good. Now, another variation off of this position is we're going to then do a second bar with your index. And it's going to play first string 10. So you're going to have to get pretty good at this because your ring finger is going to have to get up and out of the way so that it doesn't hit the first string. And it's doing a bar, of course, and so it's pretty tricky. Don't feel like you have to do that. It's still a G chord regardless. As you can see from the chord diagrams, we're using the notes G, D, G, B. That's all we need to make a G chord. This just adds a little top end on top with an extra D note. You may argue, it's like, well, it's kind of the same thing. You shortchanged me. All right, settle down. Here's one. All right, so here we go. Pinky, same G note, 5 string 10, ring finger on 4th string 9. Then what's gonna happen is, not that, even though that sounded pretty cool. You're gonna go index on 3rd string, barring on the 7th fret, across strings 1, 2, and 3, and then your second finger is gonna go on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. So now you got a bunch of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bonus. Okay, cool. I hope this helps. If you have questions, let me know in the comment section below. Of course, I went over a whole bunch of different chord voicings for the G major chord. It's the same thing for the electric or acoustic. Sometimes people think it's different things. It's the same. Okay. And just remember, as far as your technique goes, the guitar neck needs to be slanted up. No, absolutely not. We want to keep the curvature in your fingers, not the wrist. So there you go. Does that mean it never bends? It'll bend a little bit, but we're doing everything we can to keep that curvature in your fingers. Thumb, it's like this, okay? Never over here. Okay, it is never on the outside of your index finger. And that is it. So I hope to see you in another video, and until then.